Lena woke up feeling tired. She had barely slept the night before because of her husband, Eric. He had spent hours on the phone with his sister, Marie, whispering about something she couldn't hear. But she knew what it was. Money. It was always about money. As she entered the kitchen, she saw Eric sitting at the table, scrolling through his phone. The smell of fresh coffee filled the air. She poured herself a cup, hoping for a peaceful morning, but that was just wishful thinking. Marie is coming over later, Eric said without looking up. Lena sighed. What does she want this time? Eric finally met her eyes. She needs money. I told her she could use your credit card. Lena's hand froze on the coffee mug. You did what? She's in trouble again, Lena, Eric said, his voice growing impatient. She needs help. She always needs help, Eric. And we always give it. But she never changes. She doesn't even try to fix her life. Eric's jaw tightened. That's my sister you're talking about. That's my money you're offering her, Lena shot back. Silence filled the kitchen. The air felt thick with tension. Lena could see the anger building in Eric's eyes. Give her the card, he said, his voice dangerously low. No. Eric's hand clenched into a fist on the table. Lena braced herself. Eric's face darkened. You're really going to be this selfish? Lena felt her own anger rise. Selfish? Eric, I have been helping Marie for years. We both have. But she's not changing. She just keeps running to you for money like a child. When is she going to learn? She's family, Eric growled. You wouldn't understand. Lena laughed bitterly. I wouldn't understand? I work hard for my money, Eric. I pay the bills. I keep this house running. Meanwhile, your sister spends her time partying and wasting every dime she gets. And I'm supposed to just hand over my credit card? Eric slammed his fist on the table, making Lena jump. You will give it to her. End of discussion. Lena folded her arms. No, Eric. It's my money, and I decide what happens to it. A long silence stretched between them. Then, without warning, Eric grabbed his coffee mug and threw the hot liquid straight at her face. The burning pain hit her instantly. She gasped, stepping back as the coffee scalded her skin. Tears filled her eyes from the pain, but the shock was even worse. Eric stood up, his expression cold. You either do as I say, or you leave. And with that, he stormed out, leaving Lena standing there, shaking. Lena rushed to the sink, splashing cold water on her face. The pain was unbearable, but her heart hurt even more than her skin. She couldn't believe it. Eric had actually thrown coffee at her. Her mind raced. Was this really happening? Had her husband, her own husband, just hurt her over money? She gripped the edge of the sink, trying to steady her breath. She wanted to cry, scream, break something. But instead, she stood there, staring at her reflection in the mirror above the sink. Her face was red, her skin burning from the heat of the coffee. She thought about all the times she had ignored the warning signs. The way Eric always defended Marie. The way he never considered Lena's feelings. The way he made decisions without her. And now, it had come to this. A knock on the door snapped her out of her thoughts. Marie. Lena clenched her jaw. Not today. Marie walked in like she owned the place. She didn't even say hello before asking, "Where's the card?" Lena stood there, still in shock, still feeling the heat on her skin. Marie frowned, finally noticing her face. What happened to you? Lena let out a bitter laugh. Your brother happened. Marie scoffed. Oh, don't be dramatic. Where's the card? Eric said you'd give it to me. Lena's hand shook. You really don't care, do you? Marie rolled her eyes. Look, I don't have time for this. Just give me the card, and I'll be out of your way. Lena took a deep breath. No. Marie's face twisted in anger. Excuse me? I said no, Marie. I'm done. Marie crossed her arms. Eric won't be happy. Lena's lips curled into a bitter smile. I don't think I care anymore. Marie glared at her for a moment before grabbing her purse. You'll regret this. She stormed out, slamming the door behind her. Lena let out a shaky breath. She already regretted a lot of things, but standing up for herself wasn't one of them. The door swung open hours later. Eric stepped in, looking around. Where's Marie? Gone, Lena said simply. Eric frowned. Did you give her the card? Lena held her chin high. No. Eric's hands balled into fists. You're testing me, Lena. No, Eric. I'm done being tested. His nostrils flared. You really want to go against me? Lena met his gaze, no longer afraid. You already went against me when you threw that coffee. For the first time, Eric looked uncertain. His eyes darted to her face, and for a brief second, he looked guilty. But it was gone as quickly as it came. You brought this on yourself, he muttered before heading to the bedroom. Lena sat down, her heart racing. She had taken the first step. Now, she needed to figure out what came next. Lena spent the night awake, staring at the ceiling. Everything felt so clear now. She had spent years sacrificing for this marriage, for Eric, for his sister. And what had she gotten in return? Burned. She got up, quietly packing a bag. She wasn't making a big scene. She wasn't going to cry or beg. She was done with that. As she zipped up her suitcase, Eric stirred. Where are you going? Lena turned to him. Somewhere safe. His expression hardened. Lena, don't be stupid. She stared at him, a man she no longer recognized. You already made that decision for me, Eric. With that, she walked out the door, leaving behind the life she no longer wanted. Lena sat in the driver's seat, gripping the wheel. She didn't know exactly where she was going, but for the first time in a long time, she felt free. As she drove away, she thought about everything she had endured. The manipulation, the control, the abuse. It was over now. Her phone buzzed with a message from an old friend. Someone she had lost touch with, because of Eric. Lena? It's been a while. How are you? A small smile formed on her lips. She had a long journey ahead, but she was ready to take it. For herself.